Sorry to start our first announcement with financial information, but thank you for financially supporting the church as you can and how you can. And so that information is there. So next Sunday is September 17th, and I'm leading the service. I'm leading the service also on the 24th, but I'm interviewing Rick Chapman, who is a retired Anglican priest who's moved to the Valley. And so Rick and I are going to have a conversation, kind of an introduction to Rick to the congregation. And then, of course, October 1st. And October 1st is Worldwide Communion Sunday. So there will be a 10 o'clock communion service in the chapel at Christ Church Trinity here in Invermere, which is Worldwide Communion Sunday. So we give a shout out to the Mission and Service Fund and PWRDF, and like to value and support those organizations. So Fridays with Eckert, every Friday from 10 to 11:30, we have an online gathering, a time of listening to talks by Eckhart Tolle and discussion. It's a meaningful and helpful spiritual time. Let me know if you'd like to receive a Zoom link wherever you are. I'll just read the quote. It is through gratitude for the present moment that the spiritual dimension of life opens up. Kate, who's in church today, Kate and Sally do the PowerPoint, and thank you for putting this in. Kate, remembering 9/11, which is tomorrow, and the first responders, I'm just going to maybe shrink this for us, who risk their lives to save others. May we find new ways to be with one another. So thanks for that reminder, Kate. So we're going to do a fall book study on this book, Holy Envy, by Barbara Brown Taylor, Finding God in the Faith of Others. It'll be 6 Wednesdays starting October 25th to November 29th. So at the end of October, running through the month of November, on Wednesdays, there will be an afternoon and evening option. Barbara recounts her moving discoveries of finding the sacred in unexpected places while teaching the world's religions to undergraduates in rural Georgia, revealing how God delights in confounding our expectations. She does this by both digging deeper into those traditions herself and by seeing them through her students' eyes as she sets off with them on field trips to monasteries, temples, and mosques. The book is going to be under $25, something like around $22. I can order through our local bookstore here in Invermere. I'd like to put in a kind of a one-time order. So please let me know if you'd like a book as soon as you can, and I'll start getting those books in. It's very readable. Barbara Brown Taylor is a delightful person, a delightful theologian and writer, and so you'll enjoy it. Okay, so this is something that Kate's put in, and it's really cool. A rad fundraiser. The next slide will describe it. A 13-hole shotgun start, 2:30 buffet dinner afterwards, $89 for golf and dinner, $33 for dinner. So this is, I believe, Saturday, September 30th. Help raise awareness and therefore support for the RAD, Recreational Adaptive Society, an organization that supplies sports equipment for people who have diverse abilities to rent. Tickets for the event are on Eventbrite. Disability Without Poverty, an organization out of Vancouver, has been putting pressure on the government to raise the amount of monthly income that gets paid to people with diverse abilities. They have just had success by getting the bill to have a second reading and want to keep moving forward. After the service, you can ask Kate more about this movement and their postcard campaign. Yeah, lovely, Kate. Really good. So Judy, come on up. She's one of our sort of leaders of the garage sale. And Judy, do you want to actually read the next few slides, and then you can talk about it too? Yeah, you can read that and then eventually push that button.
Okay, so we're holding a garage sale this coming Saturday from 9 till 2. First of all, today we need help setting up all of the tables so that we can put out items. So after church, if people could stay and put up the tables for us, that would be wonderful. Drop off of items Thursday 12 to 2 or 4 to 5:30. Friday 10 to 12, 2 to 5, and then a final setup 6:30 to 8. I've put up sign-up sheets at the back for people to sign up to help, especially with Friday from 6:30 to 8 for the final setup. And Saturday, we need cashiers and we need people just to float and help. And especially, we need people to help us clean up about 1:45 on Saturday. So if you can sign up for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, we would appreciate any help you can get.
You want a couple trucks?
We need a couple of trucks at 2:00 too to take away garbage and stuff. We're hoping to get Freighter to come and take away any of the items that they can use in radium for their store, but there will be garbage.
And Judy and Brent, it's Bendina here. Can you hear me?
Yeah?
So I have, thanks to Kate and her talent, I have posters that I will be bringing. I'll be coming to church before the end of the service today. And so I will have posters to give to people to be asked them to please have the posters put up in Edgewater, Radium, Invermere, and I will put them up in Fairmont. So I will bring posters for you. Thanks, Kate.
Oh, thank you, Benny. Anything else? Just talk to me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Judy and Bendina. And I think Willa's part of the organizing too. Okay. So Wendy has put this in. Items in the kitchen for years will go to the garage sale if they are not picked up. And there's a picture of some of the items. Affirming Ministries believe it is important to be a public witness and to be a role model for other ministries as they publicly declare their commitment to inclusion and justice for people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. Steering Committee meets this Tuesday to plan the first session to lead the congregation on this journey. They've been having several meetings, this committee, and they've been doing good work. Okay, so I guess that kind of ends our announcements. Today, nice to have Betty and Colin Bono here and leading music today. And nice to see Bill, Greg's dad, out there too, so that's wonderful. So let's read through, we've been reading through the 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Today, our two calls are under the category museums and archives. So call number 68. We call upon the federal government in collaboration with Aboriginal peoples and the Canadian Museums Association to mark the 150th anniversary of the Canadian Confederation in 2017 by establishing a dedicated national funding program for commemoration projects on the theme of reconciliation. And call number 69. We call upon Library and Archives Canada to 1, fully adopt and implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the United Nations Joint Orient Literature Principles as related to Aboriginal peoples' inalienable right to know the truth about what happened and why, with regard to human rights violations committed against them in the residential schools. 2, ensure that its record holdings related to residential schools are accessible to the public. And 3, commit more resources to its public education materials and programming on residential schools. So that is good stuff. We acknowledge that we are on the territory of Indigenous peoples here in the Columbia Valley, the Shuswap, Ktunaxa people, and the chosen homeland of the Métis. We celebrate that we are in a time of life of living with more awareness with one another. And friends, I invite us to have a moment of presence, which means simply to step out of our mind and our thinking and bring our attention into the present moment. Today, we're talking about waking up. And when we come into the present moment, we wake up. Let's sing our invocation song, There Is Room for All. We'll sing through it twice. I'll invite you to just stay seated, and let's sing There Is Room for All. There is room for all in the shadow of God's wing. There is room for all sheltered in God's love. And I rejoice and sing, my refuge and my rock in whom I trust. There is room for all. There is room for all. There is room for all in the shadow of God's wing. There is room for all sheltered in God's love. And I rejoice and sing, my refuge and my rock in whom I trust. There is room for all. There is room for all. Today, our focus will be on the verses, love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. And besides this, you know what time it is, how it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. Both reveal how we are to wake up and live loving lives because we wake up. Following the way of God, we are invited to a higher level of consciousness. Our opening hymn is Be Thou My Vision, number 642 in Voices United. You can stand or sit, whatever you'd like. Be thou my vision, O joy of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought, by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom, my calm in all strife. I ever with thee, and thou in my life. Thou loving parent, thy child may I be. Thou in me dwelling, and I one with thee. Be thou my battle shield for the fight. Be thou my dignity, thou my delight. Thou my soul shelter, thou my high tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power of my power. Riches I heed not, nor vain empty praise. Thou mine inheritance now and always. Thou and thou only, the first in my heart. Great God of heaven, my treasure thou art. Great God of heaven, after victory won, may I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. Amen. Please have a seat, everybody. A couple of weeks ago, Sally and I went to see the movie Barbie in Cranbrook. And we were both delighted. It's a very good movie, and I was delighted how profound it was, and there was lots of things to think about. And so Sally and I talked about many things on the way home. And it was actually, maybe I shouldn't say this, but it was one of the deeper movies I've seen lately. And so I'm going to be talking about Barbie today. But you know, there's waking up that happens in Barbie that I'm going to speak about, and one is it's a very intentional waking up. There's these women who literally, you can see them on the screen when they sort of like wake up out of a trance. And there's a particular monologue that Gloria, who's a character in the movie, she gives surrounded by these women, and the monologue, anyway, has wisdom in it. And so I thought we'd have Gloria's monologue as our words of wisdom today. And they were written by Greta Gerwig, a co-writer of the monologue and also director of the movie. It is literally impossible to be a woman. This is the monologue. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful, but never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll, just representing women, then I don't even know. And that's the end of her monologue. All right. So maybe you saw some wisdom in that. So last week we had this wonderful skit under the duress of technical difficulties. But I'm going to go over and see if Benny the bear is going to come to church today.
Hello, are you there? Hello?
Benny, oh, there you are.
Hello?
Hi, Benny.
There. Is my mic working?
Well, I don't know.
Hello?
Do you think her mic is working?
1, 2, 3. Yep, something's working. My mouth.
Hey, Benny, haven't seen you
Hi.
all summer.
No,
And-
I know, me neither you.
Did you have a good summer?
Well, summers are pretty quiet for me. I just sit up on rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Now I get busy.
Now you get busy. Well, really nice to see
Yeah.
you. Benny, can you see the kids in church today?
Yeah, they
Kids
think I
and
don't have
teenagers
Are
and-
these like eyes on my? Of course I can see.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm sorry about my cough. I have a bit of a COVID cough, but
Oh.
I'm not contagious.
No.
Yeah, I
Or
shouldn't
I
be
wouldn't be
contagious.
so close to you.
Benny, I'm going to introduce you to these young people.
Okay.
And so it's Cherish is the oldest.
Cherish,
And then
yes. Sharon.
Sharon. Oh, that's right, Sharon.
My hearing's better than yours.
Emanuela. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
I
And
love
you
those
are
names.
Prince. Right.
Prince.
Good to see you.
Nice.
So you three are going to school, aren't you? Yeah. Because I have a
I'm-
topic I want to talk about today.
Oh.
When you went to started school, it was like a week ago, last week. Did you go over rules in the classroom, like with your teachers? Were there any rules? Cherish, can you remember any of the rules that you talked about? And what would be one of them?
Oh, cool.
Okay, be safe and be kind to others. I'm going to repeat it just so people at home can hear it. Thank you. And Sharon, were there any rules that you went over that you can remember? Okay, and Emmanuel, can't remember. Was there any about? Oh yeah, Benny.
Well,
Sorry.
I know sometimes like at school, aren't there rules like you can't run in the hall,
I don't
which is
know.
being safe?
Did they go over that? You can't run in the hall.
Or
Did they talk about that? Okay.
maybe they wait until you run, and then they say stop.
Were there any rules about cell phones? Okay, I'm interested. What was a rule about cell phones? So you shouldn't use a cell phone, but then there's a place. So when you come into the class, do you put your cell phones? Okay. So and then at the end of class, you can take it back. Okay. So sort of in the hallway, kids are allowed to use cell phones. Ah, okay. Only after school. How about lunchtime? Not even at lunchtime. Did you know that, Benny?
I didn't know that. You never told me. Is that what the rules were for you too when you went to school? Your rules were don't bring your phones to school because you'll break them.
Yeah, the cord wasn't that long to
Yeah.
take them to school. Was there any rules about like bubble gum? That's kind of an old thing, isn't it? When I was going to school, I think we weren't allowed to chew bubble gum.
I like what Cherish said about how the rules were to be kind and safe, because that's kind of that's neat.
Well,
Like summary of it all.
and there's a line in the Bible that we're reading today that Paul wrote, and he said, love replaces rules and laws. So when we grow up and mature and we learn to love, then we don't need rules and laws as much. So
because like other rules they don't name maybe are like don't push, don't hit, don't steal at school.
well, yeah. Like, did they talk about that? The rules not to hit each other? Oh, they did. Okay.
Oh.
But a lot of kids don't need that rule because they wouldn't hit, right? It's interesting though. Sometimes we have rules because some people need rules, but the idea is for all of us to sort of grow up and mature and grow in love so that we don't really need somebody outside of us to tell us how to live because we know how to live, like not to hit people or steal or lie, those kind of things. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we're talking. That's what we're reading about in our Bible story today. So
That's neat.
I think
so. You don't really need laws when you're loving and kind, sort of.
that's right.
Sort of.
When you're loving and kind, you don't need laws as much. And what a wonderful society it would be if all people were mature and loving enough, we didn't need laws to say, what's a law here in Invermere that we have? Don't let your vehicle idle or run.
Yeah.
Idle or run, right. And so it's a law, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you for highlighting that. But most people who grow up, as Paul says, would go, yeah, I know enough to turn my car off and not just let it idle. Okay, wonderful. Do you have any questions for Benny before he goes? We don't know if Benny's a girl or a boy, actually.
I'm a they.
Yeah, Benny's a they. Anyway, nice to see you. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming to church today. Nice to see you, Benny.
Nice to see you, kids.
Yeah, okay.
Nice to talk, Brent.
Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Maybe.
Bye-bye. Thank you for coming up. I'm so excited that our technology is working better. That was a fun week last week. Okay, here we go. And we're singing this beautiful Resurrection Easter hymn, In the Bulb There's a Flower. When this first came out in Voices United, I remember saying, when I die, you can sing this at my funeral. I just say that because it's such a beautiful hymn. So if you like to stand or sit, let's sing In the Bulb There is a Flower. In the bulb there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree, in cocoons a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter, there's a spring that waits to be unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come the future, what it holds a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning, in our time infinity, in our doubt there is believing, in our life eternity, in our death a resurrection, at the last a victory, unrevealed until its season, something God alone. Amen. Please have a seat, everybody. Now, this is going to be a little extra test on our new sound system. So, because Bendina is reading our scripture today. Are you out there, Bendina?
I am.
It's working.
That's great. So the first reading today is Exodus 12, verses 1 to 14. The following passage regards the institution of the first Passover. It is from the Passover that the Christian communion originated. There is no historical evidence that the firstborn of Egypt actually died in such an event. However, the Jewish people remember that their understanding of God is that God is on the side of the oppressed, and that people are to live in freedom and right relationships. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first month of the year for you. Tell the whole congregation of Israel that on the 10th of this month, they are to take a lamb for each family, a lamb for each household. If a household is too small for a whole lamb, it shall join its closest neighbor in obtaining one. The lamb shall be divided in proportion to the number of people who eat of it. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a year-old male. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of this month. Then the whole assembled congregation of Israel shall slaughter it at twilight. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and the lintel of the houses in which they eat. They shall eat the lamb that same night. They shall eat it roasted over the fire with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water, but roasted over the fire with its head, legs, and inner organs. You shall let none of it remain until the morning. Anything that remains until the morning, you shall burn. This is how you shall eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it hurriedly. It is the Passover of the Lord, for I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and I will strike down every firstborn in the land of Egypt, both human beings and animals. On all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am the Lord. The blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you live. When I see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague shall destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. This day shall be a day of remembrance for you. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. Throughout your generations, you shall observe it as a perpetual ordinance. The second reading is Romans 13, verses 8 to 14. We hear how Paul refers to a higher level of consciousness for those who put on the Lord Jesus Christ. They will love of their own accord, and because they are grounded in the Spirit, no external laws will be necessary. Some scholars have pointed out that Paul's tone of urgent watchfulness was a regular feature of earliest Christian ethical teachings. It was intended to encourage a sense of moral responsibility about matters of everyday life. It was not to foster anxious calculations of the date of the end of the world. Romans 13. Owe no one anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The commandments: you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling of the law. Besides this, you know what time it is, how it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. For starvation is nearer to us now than when we became believers. The night is far gone, the day is near. Let us then lay aside the works of darkness and put on the armor of light. Let us live honorably as in the day, not in reveling or drunkenness, reveling or drunkenness, not in debauchery or licentiousness, not in quarreling and jealousy. Instead, put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. The gospel reading is Matthew 18:15 to 20. These verses, though claimed to have been said by Jesus, are almost certainly not. They are the creation of the gospel writer of Matthew. They reflect the early church's attempts at developing procedures for dealing with conflict and deviant behavior. The reflection that where 2 or 3 shall come together in my name, I am there with them, is clearly set within the context of the settling of disputes. The presence of the living Christ in the midst means that conflict can be faced without fear of a permanent disruption of unity. If it is your tradition to stand for the gospel reading, please feel free to stand. Matthew 18. If another member of the church sins against you, go and point out the fault when the 2 of you are alone. If the member listens to you, you have regained that one. But if you are not listened to, take 1 or 2 others along with you, so that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If the member refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if the offender refuses to listen even to the church, let such a one be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly, I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, truly, I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gathered in my name, I am there among them. May we hear sacred wisdom through these human texts. Thanks be to God. Amen.
Thanks, Bentina. Technology is as good as the user. And well, I'm going to just leave it at that, and I'm going to start the message, because in a few minutes we're actually going to watch the trailer for Barbie. And we'll see how that works out. I'm not going to speak about the Old Testament reading or the gospel reading, although it's so interesting that in the gospel reading it says, if two of you on earth agree on anything, God will do it for you. And it just makes you smile, getting two people to agree on anything. Yeah. Anyway, I guess there could be a sermon in that, couldn't there? But I want to focus in on the one line, because it's such a powerful line, that Paul wrote in in the verses we have today to his letter to the Romans, to people in Rome, when he says, "It is now the moment for you to wake from sleep." There's so much in that. It is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. I just find it so interesting, even that Paul would write that. What did it mean for what did it mean for him? What was he addressing when he says to the people, "It is now the moment for you to wake from sleep"? Just imagine that. And did Paul have a bit of a sense that in his own life journey, he was asleep, that he was once that Pharisee, that legalistic, righteous, self-righteous man who was so bent on being perfect that he hurt other people. He actually helped other people be murdered and so on. He didn't see that. And so his conversion was like a wake up for him. So did Paul go, man, I was asleep and I'm now more awake, but I can see that you people are asleep and now you need to wake from sleep. And for me, this language of waking up from sleep, and what that means, what sleep means, like from our conditioning, from the trance, from our, like, it's an interesting one, because most of us, if I asked you to ask yourself, do you think you're asleep right now? Of course, not physically asleep, but do you think you're asleep in other ways? Do you think you're in some kind of hypnotic trance? Do you think that you have been so socialized and conditioned by society, culture, your upbringing, that someone could say, you're asleep? I think most of us would say, what are you talking about? I'm awake. That person over there may be asleep, but I'm awake. And that's an interesting part. The tricky part of being asleep or being unconscious is we don't realize it. We don't realize that we live in a dream world, or we live in a trance, or that we've been conditioned by society, or that we are simply living in our mind and our personality. Last fall, we did a study on the Enneagram. Ennea means 9 and gram means type, and the Enneagram says that all people can find themselves in 9 personality types. We all have a personality. Have you ever noticed that? You have a personality? That if you're in a relationship with somebody, have you noticed they have a personality? Have you noticed that your personality is different than their personality? And you can be you can be in this trance. I never quite know what I'm doing, but I'll just do that. And you're in a trance of your own personality. And so we need to talk more about presence, I think, in the weeks ahead, because I think for me, that is central to spirituality. I'm not here as a minister to get you folks to believe in certain things. And traditionally, that's what we've done in church, right? That's what religion is. It's belief systems. And we're supposed to come here and believe in certain things that the church has believed in for years. And the minister's job is to get people to believe in certain things. To be honest, I think that's another way of helping people fall asleep. It's just all head stuff, mind stuff, conditioning. My job is not to control your mind. That's kind of a cultish thing. Our job is to help each other wake up out of our conditioning, wake up out of our minds, and so on. So much to talk about. It's so interesting that Paul says these words, "It is now the moment for you to wake from sleep." Good on him. And that's what he saw in the people back then. And frankly, folks, that's still a huge part of the human journey, isn't it? So I'd like to, well, to be honest, when Sally and I went to watch Barbie, the movie Barbie, there's just clear scenes in there of people waking up. But there's other scenes where people are also in a dream world. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's see if I can just show you the trailer. I imagine all of you have gone to see Barbie already, so you don't really need to see the trailer. But just in case, I'm going to try. Sally, do I need to go to shared screen? Yeah, I do. And I need to go here. Okay. And now I'm going to go here. And let's just see if this works.
Hey, Barbie. Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
You can find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
When my heart breaks,
Some things have been happening that might be related.
when my world shakes.
Cold shower, falling off my roof, and my heels are on the ground. What do I have to do? You have to go to the real world.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find.
I'm coming with you.
Okay. Wow, this is the real world. What's going on? Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
Barbie in the real world. That's impossible.
If this got out, this could mean extremely weird things for our world. This would be catastrophic!
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
No one rests until this doll is back in a box.
Even if nobody else sings along.
Humans only have one ending.
Get that Barbie!
Ideas live forever.
No, I won't let you do just one appendectomy,
But I'm a man.
but not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
And I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
Is Barbie bitch if you still in doubt?
Okay. Great. I'm going to go there. All right. I don't know if you could hear that fine, but it's you can always watch it on YouTube yourself. There's a couple of ways in which I think the movie shows how people are asleep. And one more subtle way it does it is it has Barbie in Barbie Land. And Barbie and Ken and so on, they're all in Barbie Land. And it's sort of this idyllic, perfect world where these people wake up every morning and there's just everything's laid out for them and they have this wonderful day. And by the way, it's kind of a matriarchal or women-orientated world. The women are quite happy. And it's this doll world or Barbie world. But then there's this dynamic that happens that Barbie is given a choice that she can and needs to leave Barbie Land, Barbie world, and go to the real world. And so she and Ken do that. They end up going to the real world. And I kind of just want to pause there because even that dynamic that we can live in a kind of a Barbie world that's not the real world, I think is worth reflecting on. I had a person in my life near and dear to me who I experienced who lived in his own reality. And when his family members supported him, he could sort of think that the way he looked at the world was normal and right and functional. But this person didn't really join other things like the Legion or other service clubs or church or whatever, because this person would have to then interact with these other people who might actually give this person the feedback. You're not in the same world as the rest of us. But as long as they had a partner and children who supported them, they could believe that their reality was normal. And a line that I've heard that I really like is that most people are the main character in the drama of their life. Can I say that again? Most people are the main character in the drama of their lives, and everybody else is a supporting actor or actress. You could reflect on that. We could all reflect on that. You could ask yourself, am I the main character in the drama of my life? And are other people the supporting actors and actresses? If you are you in sort of like a dream world of your own drama, the drama of your own life? Okay, so that's something to reflect on. But it's also possible for me. In my own life, I've said, I just kind of want to live in a Bambi world. I've always wanted to live in a Bambi world. When I was young, Bambi, I know the second part of Bambi is quite traumatic when the mother dies and that kind of stuff. But the first part is idyllic and simple. And it seems sweet and safe. And I kind of wanted to be in a Bambi world myself. But I haven't been allowed to be in a Bambi world. Life has rough and tumble about it and challenges and people that don't agree with me and that kind of stuff. So life hasn't allowed me to live in my own little safe, protected Bambi world. So is it possible to, maybe the movie is actually saying when girls grow up and they play with Barbie, part of what they do is they get into their own worlds, their own dream world, and they've got Barbie and all the accessories and so on, and they play and they, when you're a child and you have a doll, you live maybe in your own Barbie world. But at some point you grow up and then you go out into the real world. And so that's kind of modeled in this movie where Barbie goes into the real world. And Ken goes with her, and Ken sees how men treat women in the real world and how they sort of dismiss women and they speak up over women. And he sees billboards up there about glorifying men and masculinity. And Ken's really turned on by this. So he goes to the library and he pulls out of the library books on patriarchy. And he learns about patriarchy. So then he, all on his own, goes back to Barbie world without Barbie, leaves Barbie in the real world, goes back to the Barbie world, and he instigates patriarchy in Barbie land. And all the men are excited about this, and all the women sort of fall into this trance of patriarchy. So when Barbie comes back to Barbie land with a couple of real women, they see that something has happened to the women in Barbie land. They're under this trance of patriarchy, and they're servants or subservients, subordinates, playthings to men. And they don't know what to do. And this monologue happens that we read in our words of wisdom. But the women decide that they have to go to each woman in Barbie land and speak to them one-on-one. And so they do. And so there's a scene where all these women who are being spoken to by other women who have woken up, these women who are in a trance, you can see them, and there's actually a sound. They kind of go, and they come back into reality. And they literally wake up out of a trance. They wake up out of the trance of patriarchy. So interesting movie that way, and interesting that we have this line in Paul, it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. So it raises other questions. How are there other ways in which human beings are in some kind of trance, hypnotic state, or so on? Let me just throw out some examples. Capitalism. Is it possible that we in North America live under some kind of trance of capitalism, of how this is how the world is structured and should be structured and is? Consumerism. Is it at all possible that we're under a trance of consumer? How about alcoholism? I saw this when our kids graduated from high school. There was no ability to even have a conversation about having a graduation without alcohol. Couldn't have the conversation. It was like there was a principality and power about alcohol that it was like, I don't know, some monster that we couldn't even talk about. Electronics. Are we under some kind of spell about electronics? Do all of us who have devices and so on, do we see the world differently than people would have seen the world 70 or 80 years ago that didn't have this kind of thing? Conservatism. Is it possible that people who have a bent to being conservative, it almost becomes a trance, that they just tend to filter and see everything through a conservative point of view? And then how about liberalism? People would say, well, that's the same with liberals. Once you're liberal, then you just see politics and social issues through a liberal lens, almost like a trance that we're in. And then there's people who believe in conspiracy theories. Any chance that they're under a trance? You know, if you have a propensity to see conspiracies and conspiracy theories. These are just some examples of how all of us could be asleep to something. We don't realize it, of course, because we just think that we see life quite consciously and everybody else is in a trance. And that's the challenge. So I'm kind of at the end of my sermon, which is a good thing. One of my goals this fall is to have shorter sermons. But let me just end with some questions. In your own life, can you just ask yourself the question, have you seen evidence in your own life, moments or processes where you've woken up somewhat? And if you were in a conversation with somebody, can you actually say, yeah, there's things that I feel like I was a little asleep to, and I woke up to them? My guess is you would have examples of that. Another question is, how is life trying to wake you up now? Is life trying to wake you up? Is there a part of life that helps you stay asleep? And is there a part of life that is seeking to wake you up? We use the word God here in church. It's a theological word. We could use the word universal intelligence. Some people who aren't so crazy about the word God might be more favorable to universal intelligence, that there is an an intelligence to the universe that maybe is trying to wake people up and wake you up. And could you ask that question? How is life, part of life, trying to help you stay asleep? And is there another part of life that's trying to wake you up? Is spirituality the practice of waking up? And how does that differ? Is it possible that religion is almost the practice of helping people fall asleep, and spirituality is the practice of helping people wake up? Do we resist waking up? And if you said no, I think you got to take another look. How is it that we resist waking up? So when Paul says it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep, I think a bunch of those people listening to him would go, like there'd be resistance in them. Because isn't there resistance in us from waking up? If you come up to somebody who really loves conspiracy theories and say, I think you need to wake up, they would fight you. They would fight you. It's not them that needs to wake up. Is being aware of our reluctance to wake up a sign that we're wakening up? So maybe that's a good thing. If you start to realize, boy, life is universal intelligence, God has been trying to waken me up and I've been resisting it. That would be a step of progress, because you'd have to start wakening up even to see that in yourself. Let me just end with these words. I think what we do here in church isn't so much about telling people what to believe in. That's not our goal any longer. That used to be the goal of religion. It's not our goal any longer. Our goal is to, let me say the words of Paul again, it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. That is the goal of why we're here. Amen. Thanks for listening, everybody. Let me try and figure out what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next hymn. And here it comes. Though Ancient Walls. I don't even know what number it is, but number 691 in Voices United. A beautiful song by Ron Kluschmeyer and Walter Farquharson. Though ancient walls may still stand proud, and racial strife be fact, though boundaries may be lines of hate, proclaim God's saving act. Walls that divide are broken down, Christ is our unity. Chains that enslave are thrown aside, Christ is our liberty. When vested power stands firm entrenched and breaks another's back, when waste and want are side by side, it's gospel that we lack. Walls that divide are broken down, Christ is our unity. Chains that enslave are thrown aside, Christ is our liberty. Seek in varied scheme the life that we pursue, unites us in a common quest for self and world made new. church divided seeks that grace, that newness we proclaim, a unity of serving love that lives praise to God's name. Walls that divide are broken down. Christ is our unity. Chains that enslave are thrown aside. Christ is our liberty. This broken world seeks lasting health and vital unity. God's people by God's word renewed, cast off all slavery. Walls that divide are broken down. Christ is our unity. Chains that enslave are thrown aside. Christ is our liberty. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Karen, you spend time during the week preparing such beautiful words for us in our prayer time and try and fit it with the theme and so on. So thank you for that. And I trust you're out there and ask you to lead
Yes,
us.
I am.
Oh, wonderful.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you well.
This is a bidding prayer. To the bidding, Lord, listen to your children praying. Please respond with, send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, we thank you for your love for us, for the many blessings you have given us, for food and shelter, for our families, friends, and neighbors, for our country at peace. Send us the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and love for you, O God. We are not equal, but you love us equally. Let us who have been forgiven muster up the strength to forgive. May we who have found mercy find the compassion to be merciful. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. O God, you have always been the champion of the oppressed. Grant that all may live in freedom and right relationships with one another. May we and the whole world share our bounty with those who are homeless, hungry, or down on their luck. We have a moral responsibility about matters of everyday life and living honorably. May we who have yielded to peace yield our pride to be peaceful. May we who have been sorry, I can't read my writing. Have looked into the eyes of love, see the way to become loving. Dwell within us as you walk and love us all. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Bless Colin and his wife. Thanks for their wonderful music. Bless all who are ill or suffering in any way with your healing and comfort. Today we pray for Hillary, Linda, and all whom we pray now for aloud or in the silence of our hearts. Instill in the hearts of all leaders of the world knowledge how to provide for their people with compassion and care. We pray for all who are facing devastation from war, floods, fires, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Save us from the time of trial and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Karen. That's quite a ministry you have to lead us in prayer on Sunday mornings. And good to see you and Edna. And I'm grateful for our hybrid service that we can make our service more accessible. Let's close our service, or start to bring our service to a close, singing Never Ending Joy, number 40 in more voices. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. God of every tribe, every language, God of every river and sea, God of every mountain and island, you bring joy to me. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. God of every hill, every valley, God of every leaf, every tree, God of every cloud, every raindrop, you bring joy to me. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. God of every song, every story, God of every captive set free, God of every dance, every footstep, you bring joy to me. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. Never ending joy, never ending joy, never ending joy. It's very joyful to sing, Colin, the way you play it. Thank you. We walk in the spiritual way, the way of God and Jesus, to become more conscious human beings. To be more conscious is to be more present and aware. Let us continue to grow in awareness of whatever we can and eventually become more aware of being aware. The world needs more aware people. All creation needs more aware people. Humans need more aware people. We all will awaken when we become more aware. For our joy, for our freedom, for our ability to be vessels of a higher way, let us continue to grow in awareness. Thanks be to God. Amen. Maybe I'll ask everybody just to have a seat, please. And